Thank you for coming, Coach Mooney. May I start?
Please, John. Good to see you.
Back at you. Hey, can you update us on Grant Golden's back and Jai Bailey's ankle and their availability for the LaSalle game Saturday?
Yeah. So Grant's back. He was in most of the day yesterday doing some rehab. He's available for practice today. I'll probably limit him myself and just give him his not very many reps, but he'll be out there and ready to go, and probably a little bit more tomorrow, and be able to play on. We'll be ready to go on Saturday. Jai, right now, he saw a specialist when we returned on Wednesday. Checked some things out, looked okay. Still, in the walking boot, and not likely available for LaSalle.
When we talk about LaSalle this season, so much of their scoring comes off offensive rebounding. I wonder where that ranks on your scouting report.
Yeah, that's at the top of the list. Obviously, they have recently they've been playing two big guys together. So kind of two guys who would be centers maybe, or play center in different lineups, and they're playing them together, which makes them even more effective on the glass. That moves Christian Ray, who's actually, maybe 6'6", is their best offensive rebounder. That moves him, to either the small forward or, a 6'8" small forward. So they become really, really tall. They're willing to play zone. Not that they would do that automatically with a big lineup, but they're willing to play zone for stretches at a time. Last year, when we played them in the Robins Center, we had just come off of a pause and they played zone most of the game. Very high scoring game. And offensive rebounds are a bigger part of their game this year than ever. I just watched, and watched their last few games, especially since they've made this insertion with playing two big guys together, that they really are an effective offensive rebounding team. And obviously that's something we're going to have to really, really combat and work hard on, and make sure that we, rebound with all five guys, and be sure that we have a body on our opponent.
Coach, there were no fans allowed at Fordham. There will be fans allowed at LaSalle. I wonder if, even if it's a road game, your players welcome the presence of fans just for atmosphere, energy, whatever, or would you prefer to see the seats empty?
No, we'd love to have fans. Yeah, we'd love to have fans. Yeah, it's at Fordham the other night, now their band and some students were allowed to be there, I guess. I don't think the band snuck in. So that was deemed safe. So that created somewhat of an atmosphere. But yeah, I think we would always want fans in the building. I think that's a incredibly big part of the appeal of college basketball and the games. As I said, there were 18,000 people at the Garden the last Knicks home game. So just the band and some students were at the Fordham Richmond game.
Hey, Coach, lastly, while we're on the pandemic, can we discuss wardrobe? Last year you went sweater vest, quarter zip for games, and this year you're back to your suits, usually ties, not always ties. Is there a message you're trying to send this season? Why did you revert back to your pre-pandemic wardrobe?
Well, I appreciate you noticing, John. Number
Certainly.
one. I think the bigger question is why other coaches wouldn't, if we've dressed up for games for 50 years or however long they've been doing it. Dean Smith, right? Back in the day. If you've dressed up for games for 50 years and you didn't for one, I don't know why you wouldn't return to it. So I think there's a certain, I don't know. I think that there's a certain, my college coach wore the same thing every game, actually the same exact clothing every game. Coach Carrill, he looked good, sweater, golf shirt, and, gray pants. But I just think that, we're lucky enough to coach college basketball, and there's a certain amount of respect that you can show from how you go about that. And that's what I kind of anticipated that everybody would go to that, since we've done that for 50 or 60 years. I'm surprised to see that people are wearing, or it doesn't matter, but I was surprised to see that.
Hey, if I could sneak one more in, your players were clear about NCAA tournament being the goal this year. I wonder if the coach raises that subject as you move through the season, or you just let it play out, and what happens, happens.
No, yeah, we talk about it, and I think we're open about it, and obviously the relationship with these older guys for a long time, and yeah, I think that it's it's certainly a topic of conversation, and not something that's avoided or anything like that. I mean, again, as I've said many times, you don't have an exact directive of what you need to do to get in. But also the other part is, whether we talk about it or don't, the most important thing we can do is play well Saturday, give ourselves a great chance to win on Saturday, and then come back and then go try to do that on Tuesday. So whether we talk about that or not, it doesn't impact our short-term motivation in terms of the next game, and how we can put ourselves in the best position, in the conference, and, all of the boxes that checks.
You're right about 100 at the net. Is it conceivable to get in that large bid?
Yeah, I think it is actually, John. I think that, it would take a lot of wins. But yeah, I think so with the games that we have and the schedule we'll play. I think that would be.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Hey, Chris, speaking of coaches, but not attire, philosophy, you prepared for Coach Neptune on Tuesday night. You're preparing for Coach Howard on Saturday afternoon. Both are Villanova assistants. Is there any philosophical common thread that you're seeing in watching tapes?
Yeah, definitely. You can see offensively, how they now LaSalle has gone away from this a little bit with the two big guys, but generally Villanova's 4 around 1, and you see them dribble into the paint, and if they don't have anything, pivot around and look for the open player on the perimeter. The way that they, I would say the energy and intensity that they play with for sure is very similar. I think you certainly can tell, St. Joe's, who Billy Lang was at Villanova for a couple different stints. You can see a lot of the influence there as well. So definitely, I would say X's and O wise, a little different probably from LaSalle to Fordham, but certainly in a lot of ways in philosophy and in defense and approach, I think you can definitely see a lot of similarities.
Hey, I know you've talked about this a lot, that Jacob can impact the game even when he's not scoring, obviously assists and steals and all of that. How much higher does the level of the offense get raised when he is such a scoring threat as he's been the last couple of games, in addition to the other things he's already doing?
Yeah, in a big way. it just makes for such a reaction to him. And so when he's scoring and therefore being very aggressive scoring, that draws even more attention to him. So as he's, directing traffic and, getting us into our offense and doing a lot of the things that he's asked to do or that he's able to do, there's attention on him, but there's a reaction to the players and the other movement. When he's scoring, then it's all of those 5 guys, all 10 eyes of the defense are on him even more so, and thinking about switching or staying with him for an extra second of help, which just opens the floor up more to him, because he can see that help, or he can see the guy's edge or guy being open so easily. So it's a huge part of it when he's shooting well, or when he's being aggressive, really. And then, making those shots it really has an effect all the way down the line.
Last one for me. I know you talked about it last night as well, but just Andre's impact as a starter and playing 29 minutes, and how he kind of changes a little bit of what you're doing offensively and defensively.
Yeah, well, Andre's a really good player. I'm not sure how many games he's started at Richmond, but it's a lot of games. He's played a lot here. I think his first game was the Toledo game, and so since then, he said last night that he felt much better right after Christmas. So when we got back from Christmas break, how much better he feels. And I think, we started to play him more minutes, and, he's just a really good player. He's an excellent athlete, excellent defensive player. He is a great cutter, a good sense for the game on offense, knows how to play, very, very aggressive driver. So he does a lot of really good things. And he's his fourth year of college basketball, and has a great understanding and sense for the game and where he can help us.